fruitful and exciting deliberations. Thank you all for listening.
That was the opening remarks from the national president. Please, can we give him a round of applause? Thank you very much, National President. Please permit me just to have a few more recognitions. Permit me to recognize amongst us Town Planner Dikin Bestman Iketi Aaron, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Lands and Survey and Urban Development, Abia State. Please, sir, a round of applause for him. You're welcome. We also have other permanent secretaries. We have the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, River State, Mr. Justin Ojirike. Please, a round of applause for him. We also have representing the Honorable Commissioner of Ministry of Housing, River State, David Abutoyi. Please, a round of applause for him. You are welcome. And of course, we also have the Registrar Toprek, Town Planner. Please, a round of applause for Town Planner Shehu, Registrar Toprek. Thank you very much, sir. At this time, may I invite for his goodwill message. We're going to be taking a few minutes of goodwill messages. And to give his goodwill message, it's the president of Toprek, Tampa Naishaku Mukhtar. Please, a round of applause for him.
National President of Nigerian Town Planners, the representative Works and Housing, one of our own, with the as well, and other planners who are here for this important gathering. My own is a goodwill message from the Toprek. I'm very delighted to welcome you all to the 52nd National Conference Annual General Meeting of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, holding in the city, or rather the garden city of Harcourt. This year's conference is very unique, and especially in nature. Like you all know, it is geared towards addressing some of the challenges in our settlements and cities in view of the current happenings globally, that is the COVID-19 pandemic, and there is insecurity among other critical issues in the country and all over. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you all and to thank you for taking the time out of your busy lives and the work in your various places to make the effort to attend this year's conference. I am pleased to deliver the goodwill speech at today's annual general conference with the theme, Planning Human Settlements in Nigeria for Resilience and Sustainability. It is important to note that urban resilience has conventionally been defined as a measurable ability of any urban system which is its inhabitants to maintain continuity through all shocks and stresses, while positively adopting and transforming towards sustainability, making our cities safe and sustainable, means of ensuring access to safe and affordable housing, investment in public transport, creating green public spaces, and improving urban planning and management in a participatory and inclusive manner. The theme, which is in line with promoting sustainable human settlements, which is relevant to the United Nations 2030 agenda, and very germane to the sustainability of Nigerian cities. Today's conference provides an opportunity to discuss the need of our settlement and cities to have the ability to absorb or recover and prepare for future shocks in terms of economic, environment, social, and institutional, among others. Towards promoting sustainable development, well-being, and inclusive growth of the Nigerian settlement and cities, and share case studies of major cities in Nigeria, especially in Nigeria, highlighting its successes and lessons learned. The focus of this conference should be on sharing experiences and best practices in urban characteristics that contribute to the livelihood, lively of the cities, which include land use, built form, quality and conservation of public spaces and natural environments, efficiency of transport networks, accessibility to work, education, health and community services, and the social and recreational opportunities. While taking into account the strengths and weaknesses of a member, view noting global best practice and emerging trend as regards our different settlements in Nigeria. Another focus is on gathering our collective experiences, and as such requires the active participation of participants, and their input would determine the success, relevance, and the benefits of the profession and the practice. I hope this conference will offer useful suggestions and a recommendation that will help improve our settlement in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 11, sustainable cities and communities. I believe that this conference and annual general meeting will offer an enjoyable and a productive opportunity for us as town planners to meet and discuss various issues with our counterparticipants from allied profession in the built environment. Please do not hesitate to contact the council, that is Corporate Council, if there is anything we may do to help members and the participants as a council saddled with the responsibility of regulating and controlling of the town planning practice as per the laws provides, CAP T7 LFN 2004. On this note, I'd like to enjoin all participants to take full advantage of the high-quality seminar materials and the resource persons. Therefore, we focused in attention and active participation and adhere to safety controls in view of the COVID-19 pandemic, and wish you all a fruitful rewarding deliberation, and a very enjoyable conference while enjoying the hospitality culture of Garden Cities of Harcourt. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Please, a round of applause for the President Toprek. May I also recognize in our midst our lead speaker who has also arrived, Dr. Yoase Viyashima. Please, a round of applause for our lead speaker, Dr. Viyashima. Let me also recognize in our midst a group that will also be handling a section in this conference. They are our partners in this year's conference, the Arctic Infrastructure Group, led by Temple Lukman Oshodi, a fellow of Please, a round of applause for them, the Arctic Infrastructure Group. Let me also recognize all professional bodies that are present here, being represented, the ANAN, the RIDAN, and all professional bodies or sister professional bodies that are here. Please, a round of applause for them. APBM is also here. All members of APBM, you are recognized. Thank you. Goodwill message by the president of Ghana Institute of Town Planners will not be taken because the man somehow had travel issues. And so his goodwill message is contained in the program brochure. You can refer to it in page 15 of the program brochure, please. Page 12 is there. Thank you. The next goodwill message will be given by the president of ATOPCON. President of ATOPCON, Town Planner Muyiwa Adelu, a fellow of the Institute. Please, a round of applause for him as he comes to give his goodwill message. 2 minutes, please, sir. Thank you.
Mr. President, standing on the existing protocol, so that I don't waste our time, you asked me just 2 minutes. I'll just read my message, then leave the stage. My good message on behalf of our council is in page 27 in our program booklet. It's the good message presented at this conference. It gives me great pleasure and honor to present here today on behalf of the Executive Council and all members, firms of the Association of Town Planning Consultants of Nigeria, ATOPCON. This goodwill message to our dear institute, Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, NITP, on its 52nd National Conference and AGM, holding here in Harcourt, the Garden City. I facilitate with the leadership of the Institute and specially congratulate National President, Town Planner Olutoyin Ayinde, FNITP, the National Executive Committee, NEC, the Executive Council, and every member of Nigerian Institute of Town Planners on this event of our 52nd National Conference / Annual General Meeting. The National Conference / AGM has been a consistent event over the years. It gives opportunities to town planners in the country to converge and deliberate on current issues concerning our cities and urban centers, with a view to advancing our operational. That calls for deep deliberations, understanding, and implementable ideas generation. The theme is a challenge for town planners to awaken our innovative minds towards ways of planning resilience and sustainable human settlements. I need not mention that Nigeria is behind when it comes to planning self-sustaining and resilient human settlements. The outcome of this conference, Strategic Gems, should therefore be a catalyst to helping our responses to our positive actions in planning sustainable human settlements. I believe the country has capable hands and many other resources that can be harnessed to assisting our efforts in creating physical development that's enduring to all. Therefore, as experts, this is yet another time to reflect on where our settlements were, currently are, and where they're supposed to be in terms of resilience and sustainability. This assignment requires our collective obligation as planners and leaders in human settlements, creation, and management. It is essential to remind you all that the nation waits on us to obtain appropriate, conducive, sustainable, and resilient human settlements for them, especially in this era of global pandemic occasioned by COVID-19 virus. Conclusion, on behalf of our council, I appreciate the national president for the roles he played at the passing on of our association's immediate past president, Planner Adeniyi Odetoye, FNITP. I pray the Almighty God will continue to uphold his family and keep our members safe. Once again, I wish us all fruitful deliberations and memorable events. God bless Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you. A round of applause for the president at Topcom. The next goodwill message will be given by the Association of Professional Bodies of Nigeria, APBN. Do we have any representative from APBN? Any representative from APBN to give a goodwill message on behalf of the president? Okay, there is none, so we move on. At this time, we will invite the gallant cultural group for a cultural performance. Thank you.
For me, make a few pass it out, so everywhere now water. Which can laugh at the live now. I get the money bill on 7 a problem. Timmy? Oh, Pascal, what happened?
Imagine, sit down, since I come back from meeting, all my pots don't. My fridge, what come? Young boy like me.
Wait, your house, water don't full. Wait, water full everywhere. Your pot is fish.
All my fridge don't full finish. So water don't full every. I don't tire, madam, landlady.
Look, I go slap you. You know they respect yourself.
Madam,
for my money.
Wait, shut up.
Abe, come inside, come inside.
No wahala.
Now my tenant, he come my house, can't tell me, say, make I give him money. Say, you know they live for the house again. Say, wait.
I don't tire.
Flood door for taking house. Is that my business? Is that my business?
Abe.
Business.
Shut up, don't talk.
That is something they suffer here. Oh.
Why they make you want cry now? See your face.
I'm Maria.
No, carry your neck, I can't come my blues. I do verse. I don't want.
God bless.
Abe, no, they have say this place, you don't get hotel. Even the house.
What the word? Sorry.
Not
man alone. What's the problem?
Give them, you have to give this man
Landlady, take it easy.
Now he be the engineer.
You build the house, you build it, finish, you buy the material.
No. Sorry, my brother from Bayelsa. Sorry, landlady. You see, the problem is with us. Leave him. Easy. The problem is with us. You see, when my father was chief before me, I was a small boy. The town planners, my papa called them for this our community to come help us. This man is not his fault. When I finish, you go understand. You see, this engineer, no being fault. Because that place where landlady go build house. When we small, we they tell them, they no give to her mama. They no agree. That place, then the town planner say, gutter, drainage, water, when rain fall, when people bath, it go pass through there. Now there then go build house. So why flood no go worry us? Why flood no go worry us? So why you not the quarrel? Are you waiting be your problem?
Oga, chief.
I dey hear you.
My own be say, I dey cook. My gas just go off.
Oh,
now it's okay. Make I look for matches, take light time. Matches self no day. I can't say make I waka go find where I go buy matches. I'm not saying this shop I go buy.
How you go see? When they plan the place, then plan them. That's your place. Now we are small market for day. So that people will live around there. Everything they organize. You can't go carry and turn them to GRA. Government residential area. When you go buy, no buy one matches. Buy. Oh, my friend, how you there now? No verse. Waiting with the problem. No verse.
Okay, Chief, you know where they gone where they shoot? Yesterday night.
Now your place?
I think it's Sam. Chief, they asked me.
I heard.
Chief, now you there in charge of this place?
Serial robbery yesterday.
They shoot gun yesterday night. Nobody come. My house, then come. Chief, everything. See, now only rapper and singlet I remain.
Sorry. My brother, no worry. You see, now the same thing with the talk. If you see that far end of that our community, that other entrance there, now security post. When people go chase security people, keep house there. The other side to look the other, where would they use go the other community? Security supposed they there too. Our town, then plan them well. Then so that this kind of security challenge, these people there go call the other people. And then go come. That time when they call me, I hear them. Better go come out now. Now human being I be. So now make I go call these people again. These town plan.
No problem.
I hear them go the whole meeting for this our town. I tell them say when they finish, make them come see us. Make we stand together. See how we go fit this town again. Water go get where and go pass. We go know where market day. School go day here. Everywhere go day well organized. Police go come back. No, suppose they where it's supposed they now. No hospital.
So if they come now, they go buy my plasma with them thief, abi?
No be their work now. You see, then go build. They're not go build. Then go tell us how we go organize this place. Like you see, hotel they far from us here. No be so. Hotels they stay. Where stay, market go day, and then where when rain fall, water go flow come out. See, make una go arrange. That this thing where we talk. When they come, we go entertain them. Yes, I go there to welcome them.
If I don't
be fast. You see, you're welcome. Society of town planners are here. Is that? You are our friends. You're welcome to River State. A state that was among other states that were amalgamated in 1914. The town planners were there. Weren't they? They were there to in 1964. River State, 67. River State was among the 36 states. And we have 23 local government. And so, we know that the town planners are aware of all this. And so that is why we are here to meet, to see how we can forge on again, to build further cities, and River State will not be left out. Where hospitality is topmost in our mind. Oh, please put your hands together for them. They are to entertain you. Thank you. Please clap for them.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please, a round of applause for them. Thank you. The gallant cultural troupe of Port Harcourt. Thank you for that wonderful performance. Please, can you put your hands together for this wonderful cultural troupe? They have just demonstrated to us that Port Harcourt, the Garden City of Nigeria, was one of, if not the first, purpose-built city in Nigeria. I stand to be corrected. Yes, because Port Harcourt was planned in 1912 when the British colonialists acquired the first 12 square mile from the indigenous aborigines. And so I can boldly say that Port Harcourt is the first purpose-built city in Nigeria because it was built as an export terminus to transport coal, which was found in the upper hills of the Udi area of Enugu through the Atlantic Ocean. Please, a round of applause for the cultural troupe. A round of applause for them. I know a lot of academicians in the house. They are already probing what I'm saying. We'll have that debate some other time. Thank you. Prof, we'll have that debate. All right. To take the next goodwill message, I will invite the national president to speak on behalf of the CAP president. So please, can we welcome Chaplain Atoya Inde to give a goodwill message on behalf of the president of CAP. Please, a round of applause for him. Commonwealth Association of Planners, CAP. Thank you, sir.
I'm sure you know that COVID-19 is giving us a lot of wahala. But it's better to be safe than to be sorry.
Just before I read the message of the President, Commonwealth Association of Planners, let me make this announcement. When we were planning for this conference, we set deadlines. Deadlines for early bird, deadlines for late payments. And that as at October 11, we will no longer receive payments. This is to enable us to plan adequately and eliminate incidents of people coming, paying on site, and then complaining that they did not get bags. So, but we understand that those have been sponsored and they will need to retire in their offices. So we're going to open a window after today's proceedings for them to make payment, and we promise to give them certificate of attendance, and we do not promise bags because they came late, but if we still have bags, we will give such people only at the end of today's proceedings. You better clap before I change my mind. I must say that a lot of things have been happening in CAP. I've been holding a lot of meetings. And because it's an international organization, the meeting periods have been skewed. Some happen at as early as 5 a.m. in the morning, and some happen as much as 12 noon. We switch it over so that it's not all convenience for some people and all pain for others. So when we have it 5 a.m., for example, this month in Nigeria, the next one will be 12 noon and so on. And CAP also will be celebrating 50 years in November. And there are a lot of activities that have been taking place. So the CAP president has been very busy. So I got her message yesterday that I should please represent her. And that means that I should do the goodwill message on her behalf. So distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to make this statement on behalf of the CAP president, Eleanor Mohammed, who is a Canadian. Distinguished professionals, ladies and gentlemen, I deem it a privilege to be asked to give a goodwill message at the 2021 conference of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners. This invitation came very late and in a period where so many things are happening, including preparations for the celebration of 50 years of the Commonwealth Association of Planners holding in November. It is for that reason that I have requested the President NITP as a Vice President in CAP to make these brief remarks on my behalf. I congratulate the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners on hosting this year's conference, which I understand is focused on planning human settlements in Nigeria for resilience and sustainability. There is no better time than this to discuss matters relating to resilience and sustainability when the world is being visited with various forms of natural disasters as well as the effects of climate change that humanity has to cope with. It is therefore desirable that this conference is able to have in-depth discussions on this subject and evolve practical ideas that will serve as basis for working out human settlements that will be most convenient to dwell in because of their capacity to cope with the shocks of possible disasters. I therefore wish this August gathering focused and fruitful deliberations.
Thank you, the Vice President CAP, speaking on behalf of the President of CAP, National President Tamplana Olutoyoinde. Please, another round of applause for him. May I invite Tamplana Tunji Odunlami, Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, Ogun State, for a brief goodwill message. A round of applause for him, please.
Thank you very much. The National President of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, Tamplana Olutoyin Ayinde, Fellow of the Institute, the first and second National Vice Presidents of the Institute, I greet you, gentlemen. President of TOPREC, very distinguished past presidents of this institute. I really am enthused finding so many of you sitting down here. Those who are my fathers and mentors in the profession. I think we need to give our past presidents a round of applause. This institute has been blessed with an array of very tested, erudite, and very competent gentlemen, that have led this institute over the years. Fellows of the institute, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, those who have stood here ahead of me to give goodwill messages came with written notes. That means they were given advance notice and they were prepared. But I was given a notice 5 minutes ago by the national president. But that is a mandate that I cannot refuse because he is my national president. So it is a privilege for me to stand before this august gathering of town planners in Nigeria to give 1 or 2 words of goodwill message. I bring greetings from His Excellency Prince Dr. Dapo Abiodun, MFR, Governor of Ogun State, and the good people of Ogun State. I also want to assume that I'm standing here on behalf of my brother, the Honorable Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, Lagos State. We were on the same flight this morning, but just like me, I guess he's busy sorting out his accommodation issues. And so I want to assume that if he was the one standing here, he will also have taken that liberty to say a word or two. And so from the governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and the good people of Lagos State, we bring you good greetings. First, let me acknowledge and thank the founding fathers of this institute for the good works that they have done. We are gathered here today because of the work that they have done. And like I said earlier, I'm very enthused having so many of them living, stay here solidly behind this institute. And this gives us confidence to continue to go on, since they have given us very solid foundation on which to build and on which to advance. This year's theme focuses on our cities, sustainability, and their resilience. Our cities and towns are going through trying times. And you can say that again. These are 2 areas that have never experienced flooding, earthquakes, bushfires, dry spell, weather spells have begun to experience them. And that shows that we are in for a very, very serious time. Our cities and urban centers have been said to be centers of innovations, and that come the next few years, 70% of the world population will be living in our cities with all the negative effects of that big population. Just recently, during the World Habitat Day, the team focused on the carbon, its footprints, and the increasing generation of greenhouse gases that have made our environment to be hotter than usual. We have the issue of traffic congestion. We have the issue of waste management, smog, pollution. These are characteristics of our urban centers and our towns. And therefore, the topic of this year's conference is very apt. We need to look at our urban centers, our cities, to ensure that they still continue to serve the purpose for which they exist. And that is to enhance the competencies of the human being, even to advance the progress of human beings. I want to commend the organizers of this conference. From past experience, it's not an easy task to organize a conference like this, bringing people from far and wide. The logistics can be very, very challenging. So I want to commend the National Institute. I want to commend the River State Chapter for this wonderful organization of the 52nd Annual Conference of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners. Before I leave, let me, so that I will not suffer penalties, recognize the presence of the representative of the Honorable Minister for Works and Housing that is in our midst. I recognize you, sir, Mr. Director. Sorry that I missed you in the protocols. Once again, I want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and wish all of us very enjoyable stay in Port Harcourt, the Garden City. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Honorable Commissioner, sir. Thank you for that brief goodwill message. And we also have another Honorable Commissioner in the House. May I have the honor and pleasure to introduce to you the Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, Lagos State, Town Planner Dr. Idris Salako, a fellow of the Institute. Please, a round of applause for him. I know he is hiding somewhere at the back. Please, Honorable Commissioner, come and sit in front. A round of applause for him as he comes forward, a man that is doing so much in the city of Lagos. At this time, we would like the representative of ANAN to come forward for the goodwill message. Do we have representative of ANAN? Representative of any of the professional bodies here present? DJ, please, can we have please a round of applause for the representative of ANAN as he comes for his goodwill message. Thank you.
The President of the Council, please, I'll stand on existing protocols already established. I'm representing the President of Association of National Accountants of Nigeria, ANAN. Like the last speaker said, I was not informed of the goodwill message. But I will say something based on what I've heard from contributors here this morning. It is not lack of knowledge that is our problem in this country. Our problem has been the will to do the right thing. The town planners and all other professions are trying to do that which is right for the nation. There is the willpower by the rulers to do the right thing that is lacking. The drama displayed by the group says it all. The problem now is how do the professionals get the politicians and those in power to really do what is right for the citizens. And in advanced countries, that is done by lobbying by legislation, by the professionals themselves. So we should not sit on our oars and think that this thing will just come and go. We'll put forces together to make sure that our leaders do that which is right for the benefit of the majority. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the representative of ANAN, for that brief goodwill message. We also have Town Planner Honorable Ayodeji Ajayi is a member of the Ekiti State House of Assembly. Please can we put our hands together for him? Yes. You know, we've always said that it's important that as town planners, that our people occupy political offices so that they can help to push forward the frontiers of planning. And that's why when we have our people in government, we do well to recognize them, to encourage them, and that will also serve as a stepping board for others who also look forward to aspire for such positions. So please, all town planners who are holding political offices, can we put our hands together for them? Thank you very much. At exactly 11:50, the Honorable Minister, Federal Minister of Housing, Federal Minister of Works, Housing and Urban Development will be speaking to us. So we just want the technical team to make sure that everything is in order to accommodate that, please. In continuation of the goodwill message, we want to invite Town Planner Honorable Uko Nkole. Is not here yet? Okay. In that case, at this time, can we, ICT, please, can you give us the welcome video from Rivers chapter or the music, the video on climate change? The video on climate change. Do we have that ready, ICT? ICT, the video on climate change.
Pollution to overpopulation are driving up the Earth's temperature and fundamentally changing the world around us. The main cause is a phenomenon known as the greenhouse effect. Gases in the atmosphere, such as water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and chlorofluorocarbons, let the sun's light in, but keep some of the heat from escaping, like the glass walls of a greenhouse. The more greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, the more heat gets trapped, strengthening the greenhouse effect and increasing the Earth's temperature. Human activities, like the burning of fossil fuels, have increased the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere by more than 1/3 since the Industrial Revolution. The rapid increase in greenhouse gases in the atmosphere has warmed the planet at an alarming rate. While Earth's climate has fluctuated in the past, atmospheric carbon dioxide hasn't reached today's levels in hundreds of thousands of years. Climate change has consequences for our oceans, our weather, our food sources, and our health. Ice sheets, such as Greenland and Antarctica, are melting. The extra water that was once held in glaciers causes sea levels to rise and spills out of the oceans, flooding coastal regions. Warmer temperatures also make weather more extreme. This means not only more intense major storms, floods, and heavy snowfall, but also longer and more frequent droughts. These changes in weather pose challenges. Growing crops becomes more difficult. The areas where plants and animals can live shift, and water supplies are diminished. In addition to creating new agricultural challenges, climate change can directly affect people's physical health. In urban areas, the warmer atmosphere creates an environment that traps and increases the amount of smog. This is because smog contains ozone particles, which increase rapidly at higher temperatures. Exposure to higher levels of smog can cause health problems such as asthma, heart disease, and lung cancer. While the rapid rate of climate change is caused by humans, humans are also the ones who can combat it. If we work to replace fossil fuels with renewable energy sources like solar and wind, which don't produce greenhouse gas emissions, we might still be able to prevent some of the worst effects of climate change.
This is Earth, the planet in our solar system that we live on. However, our planet is not on a good path for continuing to sustain life. The Earth is facing the accelerating detrimental effect of climate change, also referred to as global warming. Well, what exactly is climate change? Climate change is defined as a long-term change in the Earth's overall temperature with massive and permanent ramifications. Climate scientists believe that this isn't caused naturally by the Earth, but by human activity. Earth's atmosphere consists of gases such as oxygen and nitrogen, and other gases known as greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, and methane. Incoming light from the sun hits the Earth's surface. The Earth absorbs some of that energy, heating the surface of the planet. The rest of that energy gets reflected. Some of that energy goes back out into space, but greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide trap the energy and send it right back to the Earth's surface, heating it up even more. This is known as the greenhouse effect. Now, a little greenhouse effect is natural to the Earth and is a good thing to have, but a large greenhouse effect can be catastrophic, causing a lot of that energy to stay in our atmosphere and heat up the Earth at an accelerating rate. Some of the main human activity that emits greenhouse gases are fossil fuel burning, animals, agriculture, and deforestation, and waste and recycle pollution. Burning fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas, as well as gasoline, are some of the largest pollutants of carbon emissions. Not only that, but when fossil fuels are burnt and their gases mix with heat, they create smog, a thick air pollutant that is highly toxic. For example, Beijing smog is so thick and heavy that you can't go outside without some form of surgical mask or breathing filter. The massive amounts of excrement produced by livestock farms emit toxic gases such as hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, and methane into the air. Methane is 23 times more effective at trapping heat than CO2, and roughly 80% of these emissions in the US come from animal waste. Over 56 billion animals are globally raised every year for food purposes. That's 8 times more than the human population, and 8 times as much waste adding emissions to our atmosphere. Land used for growing animal feed and raising animals for food used a staggering 30% of the Earth's landmass in 2006, and the food production industry has only increased since. 7 football fields worth of land is bulldozed every minute to create more room for farmed animals and the crops that feed them. Bulldozing land and deforestation not only emits greenhouse gases, but it gets rid of plants, trees, and forests, the things on our planet that actually absorb carbon dioxide. The more we deforest our Earth, the less carbon dioxide it can absorb from our atmosphere. Solid waste landfills are some of the largest pollutants of methane gas in the United States. The average person produces 4.3 pounds of trash per day. That's 1,569 pounds of trash per year for one person. With the 7+ billion people that live on the globe, that's 11.6 trillion pounds of trash dumped into landfills every year. But how do we know that our human activity is the cause of accelerated climate change and not the Earth's natural process? Our civilizations produced a devastating 40 billion tons of carbon dioxide last year, which equals 700 trillion cubic feet of CO2. That's a little more than 100 Mount Everests of CO2. It's enough CO2 to fill the entire Grand Canyon 5 times, or it's the equivalent of 19 million Empire State Buildings. The largest natural pollutant of the Earth are volcanoes. If we take the largest scientific estimate of carbon emissions produced by volcanoes every year, that's 500 million tons of volcanic CO2. But that's not even 2% of the nearly 40 billion tons of CO2 that our civilizations produced. Over the course of thousands of years, our climate goes through a natural climate cycle of carbon dioxide being absorbed and released into the atmosphere. But once the Industrial Revolution kicked in, burning fossil fuels became the necessity of manufacture and production plants, and the CO2 level shot up violently and have not slowed down since. The Earth has not seen this much carbon dioxide in its atmosphere for millions of years. Our planet with the greenhouse effect is like a bathtub being filled with more water than it can drain. Eventually, it will fill up with more than it can handle. But why should we care about global warming and climate increasing? The Earth's temperature has risen 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit over the past century and is projected to rise another 0.5 to 8.6 degrees Fahrenheit over the next 100 years. Animals and plant life are struggling to adapt to these conditions for survival. If even one species goes extinct, it can create a domino effect with the food chain. No living plants or animals means no living humans. Rising temperatures makes the Earth's oceans become warmer, which causes something known as ocean acidification, which rises the acid levels in the oceans from the carbon dioxide reacting with the salt water. Ocean acidification
there's need for us to adjust to climate change issues. Your Excellencies, the National President, distinguished town planners, at this time, we would like to invite for a keynote address by the Honorable Minister, Federal Minister of Works, Housing and Urban Development, His Excellency Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN, as he gives us his keynote address via Zoom. Thank you. For a keynote address by the Honorable Minister, Federal Minister of Works, Housing and Urban Development, His Excellency Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN, as he gives us his keynote address via Zoom. Thank you.
Good morning. I hope that you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. Mr. President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me start by congratulating you for
a keynote address by the Honorable Minister, Federal Minister of Works, Housing and Urban Development, His Excellency.
Good morning. So if you can hear me, I will proceed by congratulating the President and the management of the National Institute of Town Planners for hosting this year's annual conference and sustaining the finest traditions of the founders of the Institute. And let me start my intervention at this conference today by talking first to you about my experience with geography. As a student, apart from the learning of the 4 cardinal points in secondary school, I remember only 2 words from my geography class. They are Yadang and Bachan, and they describe different things. One describes a sand dune in the desert, and the other also describes an irregular ridge of sand. But my very poor knowledge of geography had nothing to do, I must say, with my teacher, who was quite adept at his work. I think it had everything to do with me, but I was totally uninterested in the subject. And perhaps my learning abilities did not suit the way it was taught. But you might wonder why I'm talking to you about it. The reason is simple. Back then, but I don't know what it is now, but back then in the 70s, when I was in secondary school, the impression was that you needed to have a background in geography to be able to undertake any of the professions like estate surveying or town planning. But whatever the case might be, the future of our civilization and the quality of our life will depend on the role that we assign to our town planners on one hand, and the responsibility they themselves are willing and ready to take. I say this because my experience in the public service shows how less prominent town planners have been in government as compared with other professionals. So even if they exist there, how prominent, how public have they made themselves? So quite aside from having these annual institutes, I think it is important for us to tell ourselves the honest truth that almost everything connected with our lives and everything connected with the public goods that government promises, such as education, transportation, healthcare, water supply, the business and the economy, security and justice, are dependent on town and urban planning and the role of town planners. So why are town planners not taking a front seat? And why do they appear just to be in the middle or sometimes even take a back seat? So this is a question to ponder for all of us, but also for the town planners. And I am happy to say and able to say that town planners Bolaji Abosede and later Tony Ainde, who is now the national president of the institute, who served with me in Lagos, were not only frontline members of our team, but they were also very vocal, and I say rightly so. I have always believed, and I've shared this belief, that the two most important officers in government should be the town planner and the economic planner, in that order. And it is undeniable that everything that man relies on for his existence is connected to land. Therefore, it would seem logical to expect that the manner in which that land is used should determine and will inevitably determine the quality of life in that environment. And who better, I might ask, should provide the guidance about land use than a certified town planner? It is my view that the town planner who does his job well should establish the land use prescriptions, taking into consideration the number and demographics of people, to advise where to site residences, offices, schools, hospitals, recreation centers, and other needed facilities, including security, water, waste services, power supply, and all other needs of society. How well the planner does his job and visions for tomorrow while responding to today will determine the degree of resilience and sustainability. It is the work of the town planner, in my view, which should then challenge the economic planner and budget manager's action. The economic plan for implementing the town plan then challenges the treasury and the finance commissioner or minister, as the case may be, to go and raise funding to give effect to the vision of the town planner. Regrettably, I must say that we have not seen enough of this kind of methodical order of development planning in our cities and states. Although there are a few examples, I must say, that inspire hope, and I will speak to them shortly. The question I would ask is, what would a human settlement that is resilient and sustainable look like? In my view, a resilient and sustainable human settlement must be adaptable, and I mean this in every sense of the word. Many cities and towns have existed and have evolved long before the advent of information communication technology as we know it today and the World Wide Web. One test of the resilience and sustainability of cities and towns that I would advocate would be the amount of disruptions, the amount of demolitions, and the amount of relocations that they have to undergo to receive such technology like the laying of fiber optic cable, which is now a necessity for modern day survival. The more demolitions, the more disruptions, the more relocations, I argue, the less sustainable that city is. Another test of resilience and sustainability that I would advocate would be the ease or difficulty with which new and modern forms of transportation, such as bus rapid transit systems and intracity rail, can be deployed, bearing in mind that many of those cities existed hundreds of years before these modern forms of transportation came about. I argue that the more demolition, the more relocation that is required to install such transport systems, the less resilient, the less sustainable that settlement, in my own view, will be. Therefore, the efficiency of land use, land banking in town and other urban planning, and delineation and protection of setbacks is a crucial element in the planning of human settlements that are resilient and sustainable. One of such cities that I have had the privilege to visit in St. Petersburg is St. Petersburg in Russia, founded in 1703, 318 years ago, by Peter the Great. One of the things that struck me when I visited that city in 2014 or thereabouts was how straight and almost without a bend the route from the airport to the city center was. There's a road like that in Nigeria too that is almost perfectly straight in Ihiala. But another striking feature was the setback between the buildings and the road. The remarkable feature was the amount of green area in the central reservation, which had been laid over 3 centuries ago, of about 50 meters of virgin green land between the highway. It was in this green area, and indeed only in a part of it, that their intracity rail was being constructed when I visited, without having to demolish one building. This was an example in the city and in land banking and land delineation. As I said, I will return to some examples in Nigeria, and one of them is Benin City in Edo State, which was founded in 1180, about 841 years ago, where the major road network links to the city center in the King's Square. As a student in that city, we were told that it was impossible to get lost in Benin, and that should you feel that you have lost your way, simply head to the King's Square, a big roundabout, and reset your bearings. And it was therefore not surprising that when the Edo State government, under Governor Adams Oshiomhole, decided to expand some of the major highways like the airport road, my inquiry revealed that there was very minimal demolition, which in itself was limited to structures that had been erected in contravention of planning regulations. Ibadan in Oyo State, founded in 1829, 192 years ago, is another example that I am familiar with, although I am sure that there are many more. Of course, we cannot forget the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja, which is an example itself in urban planning. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is now clear, and we have seen some video presentations telling us without any doubt that the rate of urbanization in the last 6 decades has simply been unprecedented. I am not competent to determine whether our urban and town planning choices were the cause of rapid urbanization or whether they were a response to rapid urbanization. I will leave that matter to the Institute and the professional town and urban planners to interrogate and reflect upon. But I think it is a worthy question to pursue. Have we, by our planning policies, driven urbanization, or are we just responding to it? But what is undeniable is a clear evidence of aggregation of a cluster in present day planning in major towns and in major cities. By this, I refer to the idea of business centers, often called central business districts, around which high-rise residential and office buildings, malls, and shopping centers and other services are situated. Inevitably, once you have what I call this cluster or aggregation, what you then find is that supply of fuel, electricity, water, refuse management, food supply chains also converge around them. And you will see examples of them in major cities around the world, even in Port Harcourt, where you are holding your conference. What we then see is a unidirectional human and traffic movement, early in the morning, heading to work in gridlock, and reversed in the evening, homeward bound in traffic gridlock, with a toll of exhaustion on a daily basis, spanning a working life averagely of about 30 years. This is what people go through because of the way our cities and our towns and settlements are ordered. The examples are many, and I have personally experienced them in Lagos, through the Eko and Third Mainland bridges, in Abuja from Mararaba to the city center, and the Musaya Ado Airport route to the city center every morning. The cities of Johannesburg, South Africa, Maryland, in Washington, D.C. are not spared. The fumes in traffic, the road rage, the stress on the body in driving, the noise and pollution are not commendable for sustainability of human and environmental health. I recall sadly that I lost a friend who regrettably suffered a heart attack while driving home in traffic on the Eko Bridge and died before any help could be mustered. This method of aggregation or cluster planning has its benefits, I must acknowledge, such as easy mobilization and economies of scale for the provision of services, such as security to guard one
So maybe you go to me, when I need a lot of me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So maybe you go to me, when I need a lot of me. Yeah, yeah,
utilize, subject, of course, to wind speed. And I say that these are the reserves of nature's abundant gift to the human race, where human activity is still less manifest in our sometimes destructive quest for development. Because I think we are the most destructive of all things that God created when we are looking for development. But resilient and sustainable planning must therefore seek to disaggregate in these areas rather than to cluster. I will urge planners to bear in mind the broad objectives of the Sustainable Development Goals, which seek to improve the quality of human life. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are my thoughts about where the focus should be about planning urban settlements and planning human settlements in Nigeria for resilience and for sustainability. Let me conclude my intervention by thanking the Institute for inviting me and the National President and members of the National Executive for putting together this conference and permitting me to be your speaker. I thank you all for listening, and I wish you very, very happy deliberations at this year's conference. It is my hope that the outcomes will be most impactful towards the planning of resilient and sustainable human settlements in Nigeria and beyond. Thank you very much.
Please, a round of applause for the Honorable Minister, Federal Minister of Works and Housing, His Excellency Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN, for that wonderful keynote address. Please, can we give him a round of applause? We continue with the program as we invite to the podium to declare this year's conference, the 52nd National Conference, the annual general meeting of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners holding here in the city of Port Harcourt open. May I invite our father, past president, DC Obialo, fellow of the Institute, sixth past president of the Institute, as he comes to perform that function. Please, a round of applause for Town Planner DC Obialo, a fellow of the Institute, past president of the Institute. Sir, you're welcome. Please, a round of applause for him. Please, can we give him a standing ovation? He is the oldest past president here. Thank you, sir. Baba, thank you. And he's 80. I think he's 80 years. Yes, Baba is 80. So he...
My national president, Toyena Inde, this is your command, and I have to take it. My greetings to you. My greetings also go to His Excellency, the Minister of Works and Housing, Honorable Fashola, former Governor of Lagos State. My greetings go to the President Toprek Kura. My greetings also to all past presidents, all presidents of our sister professional institutions that are here. I stand on existing protocol, so please do not be worried. You are the greatest. I mention you and I thank you. Distinguished fellows, I happen to be a leader, being the chairman of our College of Fellows. My greetings to all of you. My greetings to all members of the Institute. I greet all chairmen of state chapters. And I welcome all those invited to give us lead topics during this convention, this conference, this annual general meeting. It is my pleasure, with all these greetings and with all that we have talked about before now, to declare conference formally open.
Thank you, sir. Please. Another round of applause. Another round of applause. Another round of applause. Please, can we give another round of applause to Baba, please? Thank you. Your Excellencies, the National President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our opening ceremony has been well spent, as you can see in the program. So may I have the honor and privilege to invite for the vote of thanks the first National Vice President and the chairman of the planning committee that has put together this wonderful conference, a hardworking man, the bulldozer himself, town planner Nathaniel Atebiji, fellow of the Institute, first National Vice President. A round of applause for him, please.
The National President of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, Town Planner Olutoyin Ayinde, Second National Vice President, past presidents, fellows of the Institute, distinguished professionals, ladies and gentlemen, I want to particularly thank all of you. And I'm sorry I missed out the president of the Town Planners Registration Council. My apologies, please. I want to particularly thank all of you for being in this meeting today. I dare say that this is the beginning of a new era in the history of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners in this nation. And I can tell you that what we have seen today is going to be replicated 1,000 more times in the years to come. What you are seeing today is the beginning of history, and to assure you that the mandate you have given to us, you will reap the dividends in multiple folds. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being patient with us. We trust that you will make use of every time that is, or every facility that is available and every program that is available during this meeting to benefit from it immensely. Once again, thank you all and God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Please, another round of applause for him. You will agree with me that it's not been easy to put all this together. Just a few announcements. If you check very well, we have been very time conscious in this program. We started exactly 10, and believe you me, if not for the power outage, we would have ended this program as planned by 12. But even at that, it's just about 12:15, so we are still very much on time. Now, we will have to reconvene by 1 for the presentation of lead papers. So please do well to come back by 1. Now, immediately after now, there's going to be a press conference by the national president. That press conference will take place in one of the auditorium right at the other building where we will hold in the PRS section. So all the media persons that have been invited, all the journalists from radio, television, newspaper houses that are here, please, you return to the next hall where we'll have a room there prepared for the press conference. That will take place now. Just as we're ending this program, the press conference will be taking place. Now, after now, the tea break will commence. You will agree with me that, yes, there are some challenges. The hall is a little bit tight, so please do well to just manage with us as you go for the tea break. Let's be orderly. What we have there is enough for everyone. But please, let's just be orderly as we go for... so please let us be very orderly as we go for the tea break because the hall is a little bit tight, so that we can do that very quickly. And your ticket is very important. Your ticket is what will give you access to have the tea break. Now, I also want to say that use of conference tag is your admission to the hall. So whenever you're coming for a program, always have your conference tags, because that will be your admission to the hall. And also, we have health, safety, and security tips that have been presented by the Conference Planning Committee, and this is printed courtesy of Kadri Associates. So please do well to pick up a copy of this. It will help you as you stay right here in the city of Port Harcourt.
kwa basi bom